Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Aisha Nuzaira binti Nur Zaidi. My ID number is 012020021561. And today I'll be presenting about my research proposal, and the topic is burnout employees that affects their work-life balance. So first, for the introduction, burnout is a psychiatric condition that develops as a result of a protected response in persistent interpersonal stresses at work. Generally, burnout research has concentrated on understanding how individual level variables such as personality or views of the work environment are connected to burnout. So for example, even as numerous social reforms have been implemented, competitive job demands have grown. Job burnout has become a rising concern as a result of such demands, particularly in high-pressure areas such as finance and technology. Previous research has indicated that work overtime has an influence on both work-life balance and job satisfaction. So next is for the background of research. So for the background of the research, work-life balance requires work-life balance is a state where one minimizes conflicts between their work and life demands. So work-life balance requires an effective management of work and other aspects of life. An employee is expected to have optimum performance to achieve high level of productivity. An imbalance between work and family demands can lead to a job dissatisfaction. Married employees have the responsibilities to take care of their families. And if their work is in a high demand, they will need a better time management to accommodate their family time and to distinguish their family time and their work time. So the unmarried employees' work-life balance arises when high workload takes their leisure time. So next is for the problem statement. So for the problem statement, workplace stress and burnout were caused by a variety of causes. So work stress can occur as a result of lack of work-life balance in general. Work-life balance refers to an individual's capacity to integrate work and family obligations, regardless of their age or gender. Work-family conflict is linked to inter-role conflict, which occur when certain roles, for example, work, are mutually incompatible in some area. Work-family conflict can have an impact on employees' workplace stress, burnout, and performance. So next is for the research objective. So for the first objective is to identify the reason on why employees burn out at workplace, and second objective are to clarify the impact of employees' negative lifestyles after work. And the last objective is to identify the implications that can be a result of stress at work. So next is for the research questions. So the first question is, why do employees burn out at their workplace? And for the second question is, how to manage burnout so that it doesn't affect their personal lives? And for the last question is, what are the main factors that are causing burnouts or stress at their workplace? So next one is the significance of research. So significance. The result of this research is to provide valuable information and gather the information from the employees who are suffering with their burnout, which affecting their daily lives. The significance of job burnout has widely grabbed the attention of both academics and practitioners. Given the consideration on the negative effects of job burnout and substantial need of work, resources, especially supervisor and co-worker support. So next is the scope of research. So the scope of research is, the first one will be the emotional exhaustion, is the feeling of being emotionally overextended and depletion of emotional resource. And next one, it is noted that exhaustion always described in the terms of loss of energy, depletion, and fatigue. The cause of burnout are generally divided into two categories, which is situational factors and individual factors. So for the situational factors is including job demands and lack of job resources. So next is the limitation of research. So while I was conducting this research, the limitation that I have encountered is that I lack of the sample size, because the questionnaire is occurred online using the Google form. So which means that we have not reached more employees. So next one is the definition of the key terms. So a job burnout is assumed as a state of physical, emotional, and burnout that result of direct and long communication with individual in hard conditions. Majority of experts believe that job burnout has a direct relation with modern world and employees' work atmosphere. The main point is that job burnout never disappears by resting and leave. Job burnout was assumed to be the main issue at workplace that has considerable contribution on work inability and also trauma. Work-life balance is a state of equilibrium in which demands of both a person's job and personal life are equal. The principle of work-life balance is that there should be a balance between an individual work and their life outside work, and this balance should be healthy. So next is for the structure of the proposal. So the structure of this proposal is this research proposal covers from chapter 1 until chapter 3. Chapter 1 consists of 10 elements, which is the introduction, background of research, problem statement, research objective and questions, significance of research, scope of research, and the limitation of the research, definition of key terms, and lastly will be the chapter's conclusion. So chapter 2 covers from the literature review of previous studies, underpinning theories, research framework, and hypotheses, and lastly will be the chapter's conclusion. And last one is the chapter 3, which covers from the research methodology, elements of research design, population sampling, measurement of variables, instrument and data collections method, and the data analysis, and lastly will be the chapter's conclusion. So last one for the chapter 1 will be the chapter conclusion. So the first chapter of this research starts with the background of the research and followed by the problem statement, research objective and questions, significance of research, scope of research, limitation of the research, definition of the key terms, and lastly will be the structure of the proposal. So next, moving on to the chapter 2, which we will be start off with the introduction. So stress and burnout have become one of the reasons that the workplace of recent times has suffered demise, with a lot of unhealthy people and a loss of many of the employers' workdays and also hours of productivity. The state of burnout is not one with which occurs overnight, but it is a condition which resulting from a sustained period and is a slow process which can take many years. Burnout is usually starts and develop in the initial stages of emotional exhaustion. The attention of work-life balance has risen in the recent years. This includes the attention that has occurred because unbalanced relationship may negatively affect the mental health and performance of the employees in their organizations. Most of the researchers have highlighted that the field of research about the work-life balance itself is unbalanced. The majority of studies on the work-life balance have focused only on work and family roles, that is on the work and family balance. So next, moving on to the review of previous study. Wafer Cannon, who is a famous physiologist at the Harvard University, he is the first one who introduced the stress into the field of psychology in his monograph in 1932. So he believes that stress is a kind of internal balance disorder under the influence of external factors. Newman defines that a work stress as a state of originates from the interaction between people and work, is characterized by human internal changes and cause them to deviate from their normal functions. A research conducted by Izzadin and Switchers in 2002, it was revealed that the employees were often preoccupied with work when not working. When in the company of the family and loved ones, they experience an inability to meaningfully engage in non-work spheres. Next, moving on to the underpinning theories. So the first theory is the conservation of resources theory, which is COR. So this theory explains that people try their hard to retain, protect, and build resources, and they feel threatened by the loss of these valuable resources. So next theory, which is the segmentation theory. So the segmentation theory studies that the relationship between achievement and level work behavior. So next is the person environment theory. So the theory holds this theory holds that the factor causing stress are not individual environmental factors or personal factors, but the result is because of the personal and environmental linkages. So the last theory will be the job demands and resources theory. So this theory reviewed so far provide evidence for a distinctive pattern of antecedents and consequences of burnout and work engagement. So next, moving on to the research framework and hypothesis. So this is the framework for this research. So the linkage between the dependent and independent variable of this framework is that these are the causes that affect employees burnout, and this is why the employees are burned out. So next is the hypothesis. So the overall study shows that the stress, work overload, long working hours, and management pressure are the main reasons why most employees burn out and it affects their life. So next is the research that has been made also pointed out that this problem affects the individual mental health. While doing this research, we can identify that both work and life problems are stress occurrence. So next will be the chapter's conclusion. So in chapter 2, we have covered literature review of previous studies, underpinning theories, research framework, and also hypothesis. So from this chapter, we can identify and clarify the aim of this research. So next for the chapter 3. So the chapter 3 is research methodology. So we will start off with the introduction. So first, research may be roughly described as a systematic collection and analysis of facts and information for the development of knowledge in any field. Clifford Woody defines research as defining and redefining problems, formulating hypotheses or suggested solutions, collecting, organizing, and evaluating data, making deductions and reaching conclusions, and finally carefully testing the conclusions to determine whether they fit the formulating hypothesis. The objective of this research is to find the answer to the problems through the use of scientific processes. So moving on to the 3.2, which is the elements of research design. So the study that we use, which is the questionnaire using the Google form. So this is an instrument to get information from the respondents. According to Swanson et al. 1987, a survey is a very effective method to use because it allows information to be obtained from a large population economically. This method is used to identify the relationship between the employees' burnout and their work-life balance. So next is the population and sampling. So population can be defined as the entire group of people and events of interest that the researcher wants to investigate. The respondents are the people who will involved in the study and help us to get the data. Sample is a subset of the population compromises some members whom selected from it. So measurement and data collection. So since this research, we are using the online questionnaire. So the online questionnaire consists of 3 sections. So section 1, which consists of 4 questions. So in this section, we ask about their personal information such as age, occupation, marital status, and so on. So for section 2 is the which is consists of 6 questions. So in this section, we ask about their employees burnout, such as like, do they like their current workplace? What are the cause of their burnout at their workplace? So it's next is for the section 3. So for the section 3, it consists of 4 questions. So in this section, we ask them about their work-life balance, such as like, do they occur any work-life balance? Are their work-life balance are balanced enough, and so on. So next, moving on to the instrument and data collection. So in the data collection is a systematic process of obtaining the evaluating particular information. This is in order to provide answers to relevant question and assess the outcomes. So the data collection focus on learning everything there is to know about a specific subject. Data is gathered in order to expose to the hypothesis testing in order to understand an event. There are apparently 2 types of primary data, which is qualitative and quantitative. So qualitative research techniques of data collecting do not entail the collection of data that involve numbers. Meanwhile, the quantitative methods are provided numerically and must be deduced mathematically. So next is the data analysis tests and tools. So in this study, we use questionnaire as our tool. So questionnaire are used to obtain information from a group of people. This is the act of gathering data using an instrument that consists of sequence of questions and prompts designed to evoke a response from the persons whom it is delivered. A survey is a data collection procedure that uses a range of data collection tools, including a questionnaire. So last one will be the chapter conclusion. So in this chapter, we have covered the research methodology elements of research design, population of sampling, measurement of variables, instrument and data collection methods, and data analysis and tools. So this is the appendix. This is the screenshot of the questionnaire that I've done. So as you can see for the second photo, this is the section 1, which is the personal information. And the third picture, this picture will be the section where the employee burnout, and this is on the section 2. And this will be the middle picture is the third section, which is the section where the work-life balance questions about. So that's all for me. Thank you so much.